We need you to register votes. Now, every state has slightly different registration rules. So we need you to go to the Obama campaign, or we need you to go online, or we need you to go to your state party and volunteer to register people to vote. And that is not enough, because it's easy to register people to vote compared to getting them out to vote. And we need you to go door to door. There's the Neighborhood Leadership Program. You can go on. It's going to be in every state, either through your Democratic Party or through the DNC. Democrats.org, and go to the Neighborhood Leadership Program. The most powerful people in America in getting people to vote are you. It's not Rush Limbaugh or Bill O'Reilly. You are more powerful than they are to the people that you know. We proved this. We did a lot of work. This is not your grandmother's DNC. And among the many things that we did in terms of getting all the technology, I would just want to thank all the 25-year-olds who slept under their desks for 2 years at the Democratic National Committee to have a national voter file. Yeah. But that is not all. That is not all. We did a lot of work. And in the Virginia governor's race in 2005, we invested 1/5 of their entire campaign budget on the condition that we got to understand what drove people to the polls. And we had, as a good doctor, naturally control groups, right? And they got those lovely robocalls, and they got internet stuff, and they got particular ads right to their door, and then they got some radio. And different groups got different things. All these groups, you saw a bump up in 1 or 2% of the vote. And that matters, because a lot of elections have been lost or stolen for 1 or 2% of the vote in the last 8 years. But the most important thing that was done, and college students were great, knocking on doors in the last 3 weeks. That gets your turnout up a little bit. The most important thing that we did, which we've now gone national with, is a person knocking on the doors in their neighborhood of somebody they either know or having something in common with. That boosts the turnout up by 12%. I want you to think of a state like Texas. If you make $30,000 a year, you drive a pickup with a gun rack in the back. Historically, the last few decades, you voted Republican. Except for one thing. If you belong to a union, you still vote Democratic. And what's the difference? Same pickup, same gun rack, same. The difference is somebody talks to you that you know and you've worked with for 12 years about why it's important to vote for a Democrat on a regular basis. That is what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to go out and explain to people why it makes a difference. People that you know, and we'll do it in an organized way. If you go up and dial up Democrats.org, we'll send you back to 20. We put our GPS system on top of the voter file we built for the whole country. We can identify your 25 neighbors. If you don't like one of them or they don't like you, send the address back. We'll send you a different one and send that to somebody else. You can even design your own campaign literature within limits. You don't like our list of issues, put one at the top, get rid of the other one. In fact, the neighborhood we've asked you to canvass doesn't look anything like it does in the pictures in the campaign literature. We've got a whole other set of photos. You can put them in instead. But we need you to do this. Now, we started out asking everybody to knock on 25 doors in their neighborhood, which we'll tell you where they are, 3 times between now and the election. Now, bless the state of Oregon. Anybody here from Oregon? Yes, God bless the Democratic Party in Oregon. They decided they were going to do 40 doors 4 times. That's better. Think about this. To knock on 40 doors you can do that over a weekend. I don't think there's a person here who can't spare 4 weekends between now and this election to have fundamental change in a new direction for the American people. So this is about a new direction for the American people. No candidate's going to be perfect. John McCain voted 95% with George Bush in the last couple of years. The difference between Barack Obama's policy in Iraq and John McCain's policy in Iraq is 98 years in Iraq. And I don't think the American people want us to be in Iraq, because we need that money here at home to deal with schools and health care and education and gas prices. We can do better than 98 years in Iraq. John McCain's policy on Iraq is the same as George Bush's. John McCain's policy on taxes and economy is the same as George Bush's. John McCain's policy on health care is the same as George Bush's. Enough of George W. Bush. We don't need 4 more years of George W. Bush. We need a new beginning for America, where everybody gets included, whether they agree with us or not, where we work with the people on things we agree with and get things done, where we set aside our differences and turn this over to a new generation who understands that building America in the vision that was intended with optimism and opportunity is what this is about. So we need your help when you get back to your state in doing this, and we need your help here in Texas. We're not going to get those 5 representatives in the State House in Texas unless we register more people to vote. We're not going to send Rick Noriega to the United States Senate and leave John Cornyn. He can go retire in the retirement home at Crawford, Texas, too. We're not going to get that to happen unless we can register some more people to vote. We need to get this done, and we're serious about it. And we're not leaving a single state behind, not one state behind. Now, the last thing I want to say is this. Oh, by the way, here's our door hanger. We all want you to get one. We've got folks in the crowd going to hand them out. The last thing I want to say is this. The job of the next President of the United States is twofold. And Iraq and healthcare and the economy is all part of this. But the overlying vision is this. This is an opportunity to undo 30 years of bitter, ugly, divisive, scapegoating, hate-based politics, where one party believed that they were more important than our country, where people believed the Constitution was something that was an inconvenience instead of the basis of how we relate to each other. We can undo that if Barack Obama is the next president. Healing America here at home, Barack Obama is going to be the president of all of America, not just the half that agrees with him. The other thing that we need to do, and Barack is actually going to take off and do this in the next couple of days, is begin to restore American moral authority elsewhere in the world. From the end of World War I until George Bush misled the American people, along with Dick Cheney and John McCain, and sent our troops to Iraq. From the end of World War I until that time, we were looked up to by nearly every country in the world. Even in countries where people hated us, where the governments hated us, their people looked up to America. You can't sit down with the Catholics and the Protestants in Northern Ireland, or the Palestinians and the Israelis in the Middle East, or the Indians and the Pakistanis. You can't sit down and bring peace unless you have the moral authority to do that. And George Bush and John McCain and the Republican Party have forfeited America's moral authority, and Barack Obama will restore that by treating other countries as allies and with dignity. That's all we ask. We don't have to agree. We don't have to agree with every other country, and we're not gonna. And we are going to have to be tough. There are some bad people out there who mean us harm, and we will have to be tough with them. But the best way to defend America is to get on a team with lots of other countries that want to defend themselves first, and not treat them with petulance. Foreign policy by petulance is a bad idea. We ought to be treating our friends as their friends, and if we have disagreements with our friends, we can work those through, but we need to stand together. There are serious problems in the world, and there are people in the world who mean us harm. The best way to stand up with them is to understand that defending America is not only about a strong military and a well-trained and well-equipped military. It is about respect. It is about commanding the respect by optimism, holding up opportunity, standing up for human rights. The reason we need to close Guantanamo is not just because it's morally abhorrent, it's because we need to send a signal to the rest of the world that we're not going to stoop to the same level of the terrorists when we're defending ourselves against terrorists. So that's what this election is about. It's not just about the things, the day-to-day issues that make the American people suffer. It is about a grand and glorious restoration of this extraordinary vision that the founding fathers and mothers, I might add, even though they didn't get the ink for it, 225 years ago stood up for, and we can stand up for this country again. We still have a Constitution that's the envy of the rest of the world. We need a president who believes in it. And we need you, not just to elect Barack Obama, but we need you to carry on the vision long after Barack Obama is no longer President of the United States. This is about a restoration of a great country for a whole generation. You are the hope. Thank you so much.
Thank all of you all for being here, but most of all, thank you for being Democrats.